2023 has been an amazing year for mountain bikes. There's been some epic bikes out there.
So many amazing bikes this year. So I've put together a list of what I thought were some of the coolest bikes I've come across this year. So let's get into that.
Surprise me, what's the first bike we're looking at?
I feel like the first one probably won't be a big surprise to anyone that's been in mountain biking this year. This is the Trek Session that popped up towards the latter half of the downhill racing season under Kade Edwards with the amazing paint job.
Can we talk about the paint job first? Because let alone what Kade did on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and the clothing he...
Well, this was it. It's a whole fully integrated marketing masterclass from everyone involved, to be honest. But so
the paint job, basically, they've layered the colours and then literally sanded down.
Yeah, well, you say
they
literally have done. The mechanics told us about it in Ludenville, like that's what they did. And so it's obviously, it's just come out how it's come out. It's not been designed or planned, it's just come out like that.
It couldn't be more Kade, really. Kade is an amazing rider, and obviously when things go a bit south in his downhill runs, he's almost more exciting, like sticking in a tuck no-hander and a great big stoppy in, that was Ludenville, I think.
Yeah, on the bridge.
So good.
And because there's the times where you expect the trick to happen or something. I think the things that I find most exciting about his riding, I don't want to take it too far away from the bike, but he'll put in things where no one else would be thinking outside just getting down. And be sort of all over, like, whoa, I'm over here in this massive hole in the J, and it's like,
he's
apart from just the jumps.
It's a great rider on the bike.
Set it off amazingly.
The bike set it up, and like you say, it is a marketing masterclass. Next up, the BMC Fourstroke 012 Team Edition, right? By the name, it ain't cool, but it is cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
I think...
Tell us about it.
This has a lot of sort of qualities. I think, honestly, I sort of like the way the colours look, and then I started thinking about it more, and the fact that so this is a bike that we first saw in Novi Mesto, the first World Cup of the year. Rich did a nice, lovely chat with the Olin suspension engineers about, and this is what made me start feeling this bike's pretty cool, because they were the only team and pretty much the only people in the world that had this new Olin's XC suspension platform, and a lot of fancy damping stuff in there, and Specialized Gravity are the only team with on the factory setup of the downhill suspension. So they have that exclusivity of like, what's the Olin's doing with this damping?
Nice. Yeah.
Then they have the self-dropping seat post, which
I love this.
It's cool from an engineering point of view because it's got a pneumatic suck down and a spring pop back up again, and all this stuff they've integrated in the frame.
It's so clean.
But it's so clean. It's got this amazing polished aluminium oval aero profile seat post that's really different and special to any other dropper post, and it makes you re-examine the form of like what a bike, it's just like, because it's just really cool. I really like it.
And I think that if you wrote those colours down, you'd say that ain't gonna work.
No,
but
exactly.
Somehow
Red,
it does
white,
work.
yellow, orange, chrome.
Factory.
It's very like, we're gonna clash and we don't care.
And hey, it wins World Cups.
Exactly. Jordan Sarou in snowshoe, not no shoe, which I was gonna say because he wouldn't have done very well. Took the win, and nothing's cooler than winning races. So
definitely a cool bike, and that makes it very difficult. What's coming next? Can it keep up with that? Next up, Matt Walker's World Champs bike, Saracen Myst, prototype. You're going to have to convince me on this one, dude, because I feel like it looks a little bit, I don't want to say this word because this is the coolest. It's definitely cool, but it's a bit agricultural looking.
Yeah, no, I agree, but
You're into it?
I'm kind of into that. It's a bit sort of, it's a bit British racing grit. I don't know.
Did you go to farmers college?
No, I was, I thought it was cool because I don't know, just the way it looks, and then also they've been racing this prototype all season. There's a few different things in the suspension there that I think is kind of interesting. The split pivot on the rear axle, so one of the pivots is actually around the back wheel to isolate all the braking forces and that kind of thing, and the fact that they're going to a fully aluminium model when this goes into production, I think is cool. I think a lot of the bikes that are like downhill bikes specifically, like Intense, Common Sows, like just having full metal for that durability, I think has a bit of a cool factor.
There is something about a factory bike being in metal sort of makes more sense to me. I don't know why, but it does.
Exactly, and this is what we don't know why things are cool. They just speak to you, and So I wouldn't actually be able to logically defend it to you very well,
I think
or the
you are.
viewers.
I think you are.
But like it, plus all the little details in the paint job as well. You can see the stuff on the top of the top tube and everything else. Like it's always exciting to see what bikes come out for World Champs, and that was one of my favourites from this year.
Mate, it's in the list. I love it. Talked me into it.
So next up, I mean, I couldn't choose between two bikes, but it's the Actofive P-Train and I-Train.
Mate, as soon as you, I've never seen this before, but as soon as you showed me it, I was like, oh my God, this would maybe be the top of my list.
Really?
The CNC work is just.
I mean, that's why it's in here. It's absolutely beautiful. These
it's amazing.
One of them's kind of sort of XC down trail. They say you can put a coil shock on it and smash it, so it's a shorter travel bike, and there's a longer travel. They're adjustable, but sort of more enduro bike. And they have these CNC front triangle frames where it's bonded together.
It's just amazing.
And the rear stays are made by Nicolai and shipped over. So there's a lot of engineering expertise gone into these bikes.
Yeah, and you think like this, if this was just a bike company on its own from scratch, maybe this isn't possible. But
well, that's the thing. I mean, so the CEO, Simon Metzner, runs Metzner Engineering CNC House. So it's kind of like, from my assumptions, it's their sort of pet project where they have the tooling, they have the supply chains, they have the ability to be able to CNC that much, 38 kilos of 7075 aluminium per frame.
Amazing.
And I don't think a lot of bike companies would be able to do that. It's like 5-dev with the titanium, you know, like they're able to bang out these amazing cranks because they've got the setup already.
Yeah, because they're making things for space rockets and
all sorts of stuff.
Bits for fun.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so it's the fact that this is their hobby almost.
It's amazing.
It's just so cool.
I'm all over this one. The Bordure Sentier XC TI bike. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Boutique design, right? Very nice.
It has that kind of artisanal quality to it for me.
Yeah,
These are made by this bloke called Pierre, of course, Pierre Miramont,
course it is,
in Epernay in the Marne department of northern France, which some of you may know for one of the biggest cathedrals in the world in Rennes, where my car broke down last year. So I spent a lot of time waiting for it to be fixed, and this guy spent a lot of time making a custom titanium XC hardtail, and it is absolutely beautiful. They've got, I mean, there's lots of sneaky bits on it. The NV cable hoses, UDH compatible. It's got custom 3D printed cranks.
Amazing.
Carbon one-piece wheels, carbon tire chainring. But
it's very nice.
None of that is cool on its own. It's just a list of parts, and the way it's put together, and it's very elegant. It's just in the list for that reason. I don't know. It's like a nice wine. The terroir in his titanium workshop.
I can feel how much you like this one, but I mean, I'm looking at it and it is a beauty. And I'm quite interested to know what you guys are thinking out there as we go through this list. You know, are you agreeing with us? Are these bikes cool? Because you definitely think that one's cool.
I do. Yeah. Or do you think that I'm just a sucker for clean lines? I don't know. Let us know.
Keep going. What's next on the list? Now, the M1 from Intense.
Yeah.
Now, this is brave, right? Because the M1 was legendary, and there's been the M3, the M6, the M9, but they've gone back to the M1.
Yeah.
Does this live up to that name?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I haven't put it in because of the name, to be honest.
Fair
it's
enough.
Probably because it's red.
It does. I mean, at first glance, it looks pretty cool.
And this was first surfaced under Aaron Gwynn.
Yeah, but
Build
the
associations.
M1's got, you know, for an older rider like myself and Jack over there, says a lot calling a bike the M1. You're expecting big things from this thing. Other brands are going to buy that bike and put their name on it. It's so good. It's that good.
I mean, you know,
yeah.
I don't know if they'd get away with it these days, but they obviously did at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if they could do that now, but it's cool. But what do you think about the look of it? It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's just a distillate. I mean, there's actually a line with a lot of the other downhill bikes, and it's mixed wheel, it's high pivot, it's aluminium, it's 8-inch rear travel. So why this one rather than other ones? I think because it's just intense. And you know that Aaron Gwynn's behind it as well, and he's worked on it a lot. And again, what makes a bike cool? Shipper. I mean, you know, it's.
I'm a sucker for the brand, right? As soon as I saw it was an Intense on the list, I was in. So I'm with it.
And maybe that's as well. They probably wouldn't shoot me if I say this, that I've never seen that many of them in the UK as well. Maybe they're somewhere else.
The rarity.
There's something slightly rare about it as well.
Exclusive.
Exactly.
The exclusive Intense M1. Have you seen one? Let us know in the comments down below. And does it make the cool list? It does to Isaac.
Next up, Nicolai Nucleon 16 Supre. I was on the fence. Okay, I was like, do I think that's cool or do I really not? But I actually do, I think.
You've talked yourself into it.
I've talked myself into it because Nicolai bikes I think are quite cool anyway. And then sort of coming out of Canada, the Loud bikes, the Super Drive system.
That's the bit I'm not sure about. But I'm with you on the front half.
Let me sell it to you.
Go on.
Because I think, besides anything, there's all the obvious points, and we've got lots more ground clearance, and we're able to tune the hyper suspension system differently. Because the cool bit for me is the engineering idea that the rear derailleur doesn't have to tension and shift.
Yeah.
And this is a very simple idea that I definitely wouldn't have had. You know, that it's taken one company to do that and say, okay, well we'll shift with that bit and we'll tension the chain up here and separate it, and then we're going to build it into a really cool looking enduro bike with Nicolai.
I get you. You've sold it well, but the bit I love is that the derailleur is hidden away and it's compact and there's not some silly thing dangling down. But then they've moved so much action up towards that middle part of the bike that it's a bit, I want to say the word messy, but you know, I love that the two brands have worked together to create this new thing. I love the Nicolai part of it. I love that rocker that the shocks sat in, and it's definitely cool. It definitely belongs on.
No, you said it. Right, let's move on. Cool, it's definitely cool. On to the next bike. Next up is the prototype pivot downhill bike.
You're not going to have to say much to get me to agree.
No, I mean, I don't have to say much about any of them, seemingly. You just roll over.
This one, honestly, I mean, it's got everything I like. I've always been a fan of the lugs. It's always been a good idea. And I love that it's back.
Yeah,
and we're seeing bikes built that way. This one, though, moving away from the 3D print idea, you know, CNC, love a bit of CNC, carbon tubing. It's got a rider on it who's just this close to winning races. Come on, Bernard.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a great, great bike. And it's been, I think, something of an iconic bike this year.
Definitely. It's one, I feel like you do get to see a lot of amazing bikes, but it's just if you're going to races or in this job or anything, and we are lucky with that. And sometimes they cease to become like impactful. But I remember when I saw this in person and it actually was shiny and appealing, you know, and it's the fact it's DW link as well. DW6 is cool, associated with all the World Cup wins over the years with that Dave Weigel has been involved with through different bikes and Iron Horses and other bikes. So it just sort of pops out at you. It's a special, very shiny.
Special bike, definitely deserves to be on this list.
Just squeezing into the 2023 list. Or, I mean, you know, because it debuted on Instagram on the 2nd of January from the renowned Canadian filmmaker
You're
Aaron
bending
Larocque.
the rules, man.
I mean, no, because I think he put it together for this, and it's my list, so it's my rules.
True.
This is a Tomac 78 special. And he's really gone to town with like getting all of the parts aligned and make it look just absolutely gorgeous. The race face, the XTR, the Eastern Monkey Bar light bars, the Panaracer tyres with the red bits on.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest thing to nail down is the tyres. To get them where they haven't
must have perished.
Perished. That's the hardest thing to get, I would have thought. But the attention to detail is incredible.
I had a pair of those forks. It's Manitou SX forks. I remember getting one of my dad's mates gave me an orange pair for a bike that I was racing when I was like under 14 or something, and I thought they were cool. So on this bike, very nice.
I don't know, is Isaac bending the rules on this one? I think you're pushing it in. I think there's a lot of retro bikes that could go in this list if that's the case. But
we'll see on this next time.
His list. You know. Let us know in the comments down below. Are you agreeing with him as we go through this? What's next? Okay, last bike on the list, and you think, Isaac, this is the coolest bike of 2023?
I think for me.
Come on then, sell it.
It's this Deviate project they did. So first of all, it's just a project. There's only like, you know, they're not selling it at the moment. They called it the Lowlander because it's brought the travel down from the Highlander and stuff. So it's 125mm on the rear, 140 front. So it's quite a big bike, but there's so many different details of this. Like it's actually, I feel like this list is kind of iterated in on what I actually like. And
Yeah,
it seems to be
actually, a lot of what
it seems to be
we've seen, yeah.
titanium. There's a clear bit of a
That's
theme.
true.
And this has distilled all of those down into this really, really cool trail bike with all these different manufacturing technologies in it. It's got 3D printing, it's got a carbon seat tube, it's got these cold forging processes in the lugs as well. The rest of the tubing is titanium, it's got XTR.
It's got a lot going on.
It's a lot going on, and then it's associated with the like absolutely mad stuff that Matt Fairbrother does, and that there's a possibility we might see him do some more insane stuff on this bike because it's maybe a little bit more agile and pedalable than the enduro bike he's been riding literally all over the world on. So for me, and the fact they've had to team up with these different companies over in Germany and all around the world to get it assembled, yeah, have I sold it to you?
It's a very, very cool bike, and I think maybe a worthy winner of your list. But was that list the coolest bikes of 2023 for you? Did Isaac do a good job? I think he did pretty well.
But I'm going to be checking because, well, I want to know what you think or whether you agree with me. I put myself on the line here, and also, you know, there's so much out there.
So much. And I know that he's missed the bike you wanted to see on the list. So put it in the comments down below. That's all for us for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, but give us a like before you go.